we've been trying to track this guy down all weekend. This guy is Jerry Hawkridge of Hawk Cars, an industry, I would, is the word legend too strong? I don't think. Jerry, you certainly wouldn't say the word legend's too strong, would you?
I'm afraid I've been responsible, have to admit to being called a legend a few times. Yeah, it's quite an honour, and it's nice when people do say nice things about you, isn't it?
So when did you start in the industry? Just very briefly.
I've played with cars and things since I was a kid, really, but I really got more involved in making copies of cars and kit cars and things like that in the late 70s. Partly because it's when I sort of had the time and the finances to be able to do the job properly. I started off by doing some Cobra replicas and things like that, and I was making parts for some of the original cars. And then in the very early 80s, I got involved in Lancia Stratas. So I had a very good friend called Roger Perry, who was a photographer, but also ran a little business called Classico doing spare parts for Stratuses, and he ran the club that was responsible for looking after owners of Lancia Stratuses. And he had a mint car, Stradale, which was in lime green, and that was a bit of a tribute to him and to his car insofar as I've done it that colour. So, because his car was registered FYH 4V, and it was that colour.
Ah, so can we come and have a look at the
well, this one is the latest of some of the ones that we're doing. We're doing all our cars up until now have basically had a steel chassis, both of tube and a fabricated sheet, and with GRP body shell structures, etc. The original cars had a tin shell, which this has, but the doors were GRP. This one's actually carbon Kevlar.
Okay.
But the door is the same as the one on the fiberglass kit, and all the other panels are the same. But this one is a bit of a special car insofar as the chassis and body section. That is a tool room copy of an original car. And whereas that car, if you look over in that one, it's got a V6 Alfa Romeo 3-litre engine. This one, we've gone just a little bit too far.
Well, you said before we started filming, Jerry was going to test me. So I'm going to have a look. Now, he's pointing at something which is making me slightly cough because it says Dino. So this is a Ferrari engine.
That is a Ferrari Dino engine, which is what they used in the original cars. The very first prototype had an engine from a Lancia Fulvia, one of the V4s.
The little one, yeah.
But the actual production cars, they managed finally to persuade Ferrari to let them have some of the Ferrari 246 engines because they got a surplus of them, to be honest. And most of them had the later ones, which were called the D blocks. But the engine in this car is a Ferrari 246 engine, and it's pretty damn faithful to an original. This is virtually a tool room copy of an original car. Every bit, even the spot welds are the same spacing and everything else.
I think the detail on it's fantastic. And is this a car you're going to supply? Is this just a one-off?
I've got a batch of 3 going through at the moment. We'd like to do a couple more. But I'm also doing a halfway house version because this is quite expensive.
I can imagine.
You know, you're looking for quite a lot of money to be able to get the right engine. And the engines, although it's lovely to have the right engine, that's a lot more expensive, a lot less reliable, and not as powerful as the Alfa V6. But it's nice to do it right.
And that's what you're known for. You're known for doing it right.
I mean, I even go to the trouble of going very high up the mountains to be able to get the correct mice with big enough fur coats to be able to trim the dashboards. Because they're mouse hair.
But that's going above and beyond as you've always done, Jerry.
Yeah.
So
the suspension and everything else on this is very, very close to the suspension on our other kit. It's virtually interchangeable. On the front end, we've changed from metric size bushings to imperial, but that's the only change really.
Okay.
But we've tried to do that and keep it cost effective. Whereas this, it's get it right and then worry about what it costs.
But so have you got 3 of these sold already, do you say?
We've got 3 of these on the build at the moment, and the possibility of some others.
Okay.
One's a Group 4 car, which is for a friend of mine who's ordered it. And there's 2 more. One is on spec, but this one is supposed to be my own personal one, you know. But it's a little bit of a tribute to going back to Roger Perry and him lending me a car, exactly the same colour, same spec, which started me off by doing these.
So if somebody wants one, they need to get in quick, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they need to get in quick. We've got a 3 years waiting list. And
What,
I've
just
got-
on this car? or on-
on the entire range,
Okay.
basically. And I mean, slightly shorter waiting list on the aluminium race cars because we have the bodies and chassis made outside of the UK. And a lot of people are using those purely for race cars, the 1 or 2 road cars.
Yeah.
And of course, running parallel to this, we've also got the Hawk 289. This particular one belongs to Stuart, and it's a really lovely car. It's got a V8 Ford in it.
Yeah.
This car has it's been on the road now for about 13 years.
Really? It's
And,
immaculate.
Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely car.
The colour. The
Beautiful colour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
so deep.
Yeah.
But when you said, I thought you were going to say 13 weeks or 13 months,
About
not
13 years
not
old
13
now.
years,
Yeah.
Gary.
And the car that's over there, the Pirelli car, which is Guy Mayers' car, that started off as a red Stradale 2 litre. He then changed it to a 3 litre. He then changed it to a Group 4 square arch in red. Then he changed it to the Pirelli livery. And the latest thing he's done is he's taken it to the extreme and put it to left-hand drive, because all the original Stratas were built in left-hand drive.
Is it?
And that car is well over 30 years old, and it is the car that he drove down to Italy, parked outside the Lancia Fiat headquarters. They came out and asked him if they could get some photographers to take some photographs of it, because they wanted to use photographs of that car in celebration of the Lancia Stratus and their rally cars, and because they thought it was genuine. And he said to me, "So you're happy to take photographs of it and do this and do that?" He said, "I do have to tell you, it's a replica."
Well, but isn't that an ultimate accolade to something you
well,
produced?
Guy built that car, it's number 30 something, and he ordered that car in about 85, 86 I think it was, and he built it then, and it's been everywhere. That car is a used car. That car has, I mean, it's just been everywhere, all over Europe, everywhere. It just drives it everywhere, and that is, you know, sort of a nice accolade on its own, in the fact that it stood the test of time and it's reliable and it's done all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But and if you look at that car, that one's got our Group 4 Campagnola wheels on it that we make. This particular car, I was lucky enough to be able to get some genuine Stradale wheels for. These are genuine wheels. They're quite hard to find.
I imagine there's not too many sets on eBay.
These are 14-inch.
Right.
And they've got the right tyres on. When they went rallying and they built the Group 4 cars, they put what we call coffin spoke wheels on. If you look at the spoke, it's the shape of a coffin. And they're 15-inch. And then one of the main reasons they did that was in order to be able to get bigger brakes behind the wheels.
Ah, okay, I can understand that.
And the same wheels are used on the Michelotti 308 Ferraris.
Oh, okay.
We own the
I didn't
tuning of
know.
those to make those. But this particular car, as I say, is over 30 years old. It's got a Alfa Romeo V6 engine. It's got the Group 4 dash. Is it locked, Guy?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Just
It's got the Group 4 dash layout, which is built for rallying. And the tacho on this car is actually a genuine one from a genuine Group 4 car, which I managed to get from a friend of mine, because early on, a friend of mine had a Group 4 car, one of the Exchequer flag cars, which I helped him restore, and he had a load of spare parts and bits and pieces. And I did the restoration work on the car, and he also sorted out a load of bits and pieces. And one of the things he gave me was a very rare, genuine rev counter, which I gave to Guy, and he put it in this car.
Jerry, it's been an absolute honour to chat with you with these cars and the little stories of where you've got parts from and parking outside the Lancia factory and your cars being.
Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute honour, and I hope everyone at home has really enjoyed it. And obviously, you've obviously got a bit of a queue for your cars at the moment, but if people want to join the queue, they can look up Hawk Cars.
I think I'm not a very good salesman. I'm not a very good businessman. I like my cars. I've got a reasonably good knowledge of engineering and things like that. But I think the one thing that I have got in extreme is a passion.
And that come over in absolute leaps and bounds, Jerry.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute honour.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.